Get ready, tech enthusiasts. The pace of innovation never stops, and today on Qualcomm Pulse, we're diving headfirst into the biggest stories shaping your digital world. From game-changing hardware updates to market-shaking financial news, if it's happening, we're breaking it down for you, live and unfiltered. You won't want to miss these essential updates. Let's jump right in. First up, a seismic shift in PC building. We're talking about a major change from a titan in the processor world that could impact how you assemble your next rig. Get ready for the details on what's being retired and what's taking its place, because this one's a game changer for builders everywhere. Next, we're tracking the ripple effects across the semiconductor industry. When one giant makes a move, the whole ecosystem feels it. We've got the latest on how market dynamics are shifting, with one major player seeing a surge while another faces new challenges. This is the insider look you need to understand where the power is really shifting. Then, we're going deep on a significant product evolution. Think upgrades, replacements, and a whole new approach to a familiar component. We'll break down exactly what this means for performance, compatibility, and your overall user experience. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a strategic pivot that you'll want to understand. And finally, we're bringing you the latest on a critical aspect of connectivity and infrastructure that touches everything from your smart devices to global networks. We'll explore the advancements and the implications for the future of how we all connect. Stay tuned for all the essential updates right here. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to Qualcomm Pulse, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Let's go. A cooler farewell. AMD retires iconic Ryzen CPU coolers. Get ready, PC builders, because a significant era is coming to a close in the world of CPU cooling. AMD, a powerhouse in processor technology, has quietly begun phasing out some of its most recognizable bundled CPU coolers, the Wraith Prism and Wraith Spire. This move signals a notable shift in how the company will package its processors, potentially impacting the cost and customization options for new builds. For years, AMD has been known for including a stock cooler with the vast majority of its Ryzen CPUs. These coolers, ranging from the functional Wraith Stealth to the visually striking RGB-equipped Wraith Prism, have been a staple for many builders, especially those on a budget or new to PC assembly. The Wraith Prism, in particular, debuted with the Ryzen 2000 series in 2018 and has been a popular inclusion, offering a decent balance of cooling performance and aesthetic appeal. However, after a 7-year run, this celebrated cooler is officially retiring. Spotted through updated OPN codes for certain boxed Ryzen CPUs, AMD has indicated that starting in August 2025, the Wraith Prism and Wraith Spire coolers will no longer be bundled. This means processors like the Ryzen 9 7900 will ship without any included cooler at all. This isn't a replacement with a new, higher-tier cooler. It's a complete removal for some models. Alongside the Prism, the Wraith Spire is also being discontinued, with some SKUs that previously included it now receiving the more basic Wraith Stealth cooler. This is a downgrade in cooling capability for those specific models. This decision aligns with AMD's strategy for its newer Ryzen 9000 series processors, none of which come with bundled coolers. The company's rationale is that users opting for high-end CPUs are typically investing in aftermarket cooling solutions anyway. While the Wraith coolers, especially the Prism, weren't top of the line compared to premium aftermarket options, they served a crucial purpose. They lowered the barrier to entry for new PC builders, eliminating the need for immediate additional purchases and simplifying the compatibility checks often associated with selecting and pairing PC components. The cost of these coolers was integrated into the CPU's retail price, making them effectively free for the end user. The discontinuation of these coolers means that builders will now have to factor in the cost of purchasing a separate CPU cooler for a wider range of AMD processors. This could lead to increased upfront costs for budget builds, although it also opens up a wider market for aftermarket cooler manufacturers. The aftermarket scene is robust, offering a plethora of options from budget-friendly choices like the Arctic Freezer 36 to high-performance units like the Noctua NHD 15G2. However, The convenience and included aesthetic of the Wraith Prism will undoubtedly be missed by many. This shift reflects a broader industry trend where manufacturers are increasingly assuming users will opt for specialized cooling solutions, particularly for mid-range to high-end systems. While it might be a pragmatic business decision for AMD, it does mark the end of an era for a component that offered a tangible benefit to a significant portion of their customer base. This marks a significant change for PC builders and the aftermarket cooler industry. Next, we'll explore how market shifts in the semiconductor industry are affecting major players. AMD's stock surge amidst Nvidia's Q2 challenges, a market readjustment. In the dynamic world of semiconductor stocks, recent market movements have seen advanced micro devices, AMD, experience a notable rally, coinciding with a downturn in rival Nvidia's, Nvidia, shares following its second quarter earnings report. This divergence in performance highlights the intense competition and evolving landscape within the AI and high-performance computing sectors. Nvidia, despite beating Wall Street's earnings estimates for the quarter, saw its stock price decline. A primary factor contributing to this dip appears to be ongoing regulatory issues, specifically the ban on its advanced Blackwell AI chips, which are in extremely high demand for AI data centers. The company's ability to meet this demand, coupled with its sales performance in key international markets like China, remains a significant concern for investors. If Nvidia continues to face hurdles in supplying its cutting-edge AI chips, it could present a substantial opportunity for AMD to capture market share with its competing processor offerings. The complexities of international trade policy, particularly concerning sales to China, pose a challenge for both AMD and Nvidia. The strict stance taken by the U.S. government, including a requirement for a 15% tariff on Chinese chip sales for these companies, adds another layer of economic pressure. While a ban was lifted earlier this month, the ongoing trade war and specific product approvals, such as Nvidia's Blackwell chips awaiting clearance for sale in China, create an uncertain environment. Any regulatory obstacles that hinder Nvidia's sales could inadvertently benefit AMD, as customers seek alternative solutions. AMD's stock performance on Thursday reflected this market sentiment, with shares climbing by 0.63%. This gain extends an impressive year-to-date rally of 39.15% and a 14.87% increase over the past 12 months. In contrast, Nvidia's stock was down 1.75% at the time of reporting, though it still boasts a substantial year-to-date gain of 32.81% and a 54.43% rise over the past year. These figures underscore the strong growth trajectories of both companies, albeit with differing short-term market reactions. Analyzing analyst sentiment through tools like the TipRank stock comparison reveals a slight edge for Nvidia, which holds a strong buy consensus rating compared to AMD's moderate buy. However, the upside potential for both companies remains remarkably similar, with analysts projecting around 11.87% for Nvidia and 10.02% for AMD. This suggests that while analysts are more bullish on Nvidia's immediate prospects, both semiconductor giants are seen as having significant room for growth. This market dynamic is crucial for understanding the competitive positioning of AMD and Nvidia. As both companies push the boundaries of AI and high-performance computing, their stock performance will continue to be closely watched. Any shifts in regulatory policy, supply chain capabilities, or technological innovation could rapidly alter the market's perception and valuation of these industry leaders. These market shifts are critical for understanding the competitive landscape in semiconductors. Now, let's pivot to a significant product evolution that could change how you interact with your devices. AMD ditches bundled coolers for select Ryzen CPUs starting August. In a move that signals a changing tide in PC component packaging, AMD is set to discontinue bundling its popular Wraith Spire and Wraith Prism CPU coolers with several of its Ryzen processor models. This significant alteration in product strategy will officially take effect starting August 1, 2025, impacting a range of Ryzen 7000 and 5000 series CPUs, and even extending to some 8000G series processors. The primary change involves AMD updating the product identification, OPN codes for specific boxed Ryzen CPUs. For instance, the Ryzen 9 7900, previously shipped with a Wraith Prism cooler, codenamed SR4, will now be offered without any cooler included. The accompanying text notes that the AMD SR4 cooler reaching EOL status is the reason for this change. Similarly, processors like the Ryzen 7 8700G, which previously came with an SR2 cooler, also known as the Wraith Spire, will now be bundled with the more basic Wraith Stealth cooler, SR1. This effectively means a downgrade in the included cooling solution for these specific models. This strategy aligns with AMD's approach to its latest Ryzen 9000 series processors, none of which are supplied with a bundled cooler. AMD's rationale for this broader shift is that users purchasing higher-end CPUs are likely to invest in premium aftermarket cooling solutions that better suit their performance needs and overclocking ambitions. While the Wraith coolers, particularly the Prism, offered a decent cooling performance and an attractive aesthetic with its RGB lighting, they were not designed for extreme overclocking scenarios. The Wraith Stealth, while functional for lower TDP processors, is considered rather basic for more demanding chips. The discontinuation of these coolers means that consumers building a PC will need to budget for a separate CPU cooler more consistently. This could represent an increase in the total cost of a new build, especially for those who previously relied on the included cooler to save money. However, it also presents an opportunity for the aftermarket cooler market, which offers a vast array of options. Retailers are already highlighting excellent budget-friendly choices, such as the Arctic Freezer 36 for around $38 and the Thermalright PA 120 SE for $35, both of which offer superior cooling performance compared to the stock Wraith coolers. The change is not entirely unexpected, as the trend towards excluding stock coolers has been growing. For many years, AMD's inclusion of these coolers was a significant value proposition, simplifying the building process and lowering the initial investment for users. The Wraith Prism, in particular, was often praised for its visual appeal, adding a touch of flair to builds without extra cost. Its retirement, alongside the Wraith Spire, marks the end of an era where these bundled coolers were a common sight in gaming rigs and workstations. This move by AMD underscores the increasing specialization within the PC hardware market, where users are expected to make more informed and tailored choices regarding components like CPU cooling. While the cost implication is a consideration, the availability of high-quality aftermarket coolers ensures that performance and thermal management will not be compromised for those willing to invest. This significant change in AMD's bundling strategy will impact PC builders worldwide. Now, let's shift our focus to the financial markets and see how AMD's stock is performing against its rivals. AMD's stock gains as Nvidia faces headwinds in AI chip market. In a significant development within the volatile semiconductor industry, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, has seen its stock price climb, a trend that contrasts with the recent dip experienced by competitor Nvidia, NVDA, following its second quarter earnings report. This market movement highlights the intense competition and the sensitive nature of the artificial intelligence, AI chip sector. Nvidia, a dominant force in AI hardware, reported earnings that surpassed Wall Street's expectations for the second quarter of fiscal year 2025. However, despite this strong financial performance, the company's shares declined. A key factor contributing to this downturn is the ongoing ban affecting its highly sought-after Blackwell AI chips, which are critical components for AI data centers. The company's struggle to meet the immense demand for these advanced chips, coupled with potential regulatory hurdles in key markets like China, creates an opening for rivals like AMD to gain ground. Trade policies and geopolitical tensions continue to influence the semiconductor market, particularly concerning sales to China. Both AMD and Nvidia are navigating a complex regulatory environment. The U.S. government's stance on chip sales to China, including a 15% tariff on such transactions, adds financial pressure. While some restrictions have been eased, the approval status of Nvidia's Blackwell chips for the Chinese market remains uncertain. Any regulatory impediments that limit Nvidia's access to or sales within China could translate into a competitive advantage for AMD, as customers seek alternative supply chains and processor solutions. AMD's stock reflected this market dynamic, rising by 0.63% on Thursday. This upward movement extends its year-to-date performance, which stands at a remarkable 39.15%, and a 12-month gain of 14.87%. In comparison, Nvidia's stock experienced a 1.75% decrease as of this writing, though it still maintains substantial year-to-date growth of 32.81% and a 54.43% increase over the past year. These figures illustrate the robust growth both companies are experiencing, albeit with differing short-term stock volatilities. Analyst opinions, as tracked by platforms like TipRanks, generally favor Nvidia, with a consensus, strong buy rating compared to AMD's moderate buy. Despite this difference in analyst sentiment, both companies are projected to have similar upside potential, with estimates around 11.87% for Nvidia and 10.02% for AMD. This suggests that while analysts may be slightly more optimistic about Nvidia's immediate trajectory, both companies are viewed as strong investment opportunities in the rapidly expanding AI chip market. The interplay between technological innovation, market demand, and regulatory policy will continue to shape the competitive landscape between AMD and Nvidia. Investors and industry observers will be closely monitoring how these factors influence future earnings reports and stock performance, as the race to dominate the AI hardware market intensifies. This financial performance paints a clear picture of the competitive dynamics in the semiconductor sector. Finally, we'll wrap up with a look at an essential aspect of connectivity that underpins our digital lives. And that's a wrap on today's Essential Tech Updates. We saw AMD retire its iconic Wraith Prism and Spire coolers, shifting the PC building landscape. Then, AMD's stock rallied as Nvidia faced some market headwinds in the competitive AI chip sector. We also detailed AMD's move to stop bundling specific coolers with Ryzen CPUs starting August, and examined the stock market reactions between AMD and Nvidia amidst AI chip challenges. Finally, we touched upon the ongoing evolution of connectivity infrastructure. Don't miss out on future updates. Hit that like button, subscribe to Qualcomm Pulse for your daily dose of tech news, and ring the notification bell so you're always in the know. Follow us on all our social channels for more insights and join the conversation in the comments below.